This video shows how we built our quite amazing 3-bin compost with a counterweighted lid and removable fronts. Let's do it. So far our compost situation has been pathetic. We have one of these that's just a half barrel with holes so the soldier flies can come out in the chicken yard and they like to scratch around it and wait on the soldier flies. We have an old washing machine barrel sitting here. This too has holes on the side that aerates nicely, but the soldier flies get stuck. The larvae are too thick and then they're stuck, so that's not really nice. It's under a little citrus, so the leachate from it can fertilize the citrus, but it's unpractical. It's just too small. And then we have our main bin, which is a 25-year-old Rubbermaid compost bin, and I love it so much, but I can't find them anymore. And this currently has the stuff in it for curing, and that's not for those are mango seeds. It's just too small. We don't have enough room. So I want a really nice 3-bin compost system where I can turn and turn until it's finished. The new awesome permanent 3-chamber compost is gonna go in here. This is our chicken yard. I think they're hiding right now between these two posts. It's a compost, so of course we're using scrap wood, which means a lot of work first, getting all the old nails out and screws and what else. The main outside structure is up. This is recycled metal and recycled wood. So we buried these side posts in the ground and they have been grooved, so later on we can slide in metal and slide it back out to open up the bins. One of the center posts is on. They're double grooved. We'll talk about those grooves in a little bit. The back ones are just for eyeballing right now how big I want the things. They will be secured once the center dividers are in. And now we're putting the second one in. It's screwed on, but of course we're packing it down too. The first divider is on to the next one. First, we'll need a little trench, mainly because the metal is a little too long and then it would come above the rail, which I don't want. I want it underneath, like here, or level, but level didn't work out either. Back support going on. And the back posts are also screwed from the metal side to the post, so they're not going anywhere. Second partition is in. We'll just need to backfill a little bit down here. And then it's time to deal with the amazing removable fronts. We did the grooves with the table saw and adjusted it a couple times. But you can use a skill saw if you have a good guide or a router tool. The depth depends on what you're using to slide in, what kind of metal, if you can cut it with the hump part or the flat part. Experiment, make your own plan. This works good for us. Here is the test piece of what is going to be the front, which has to be removable so that we can take it out and then move the compost from one side to the other whenever that becomes necessary. And all of these, all 3 bins will have the removable front. The first bin has already a removable front. This was cut with the saw, so we had to make it safe. This is a piece of old garden hose, and we just split it lengthwise, and this goes on there. It would pop off, so we still have to secure it. Nicely secured, couple holes, couple zip ties. The last one is off. And look, this won't go anywhere. perfect. Nobody's gonna get hurt. All three sliding fronts are up. It's gonna look good. And now we have to put together a lid that covers the whole thing, preferably. And that is, I don't know what that would be called, weighted. I want it to, when I lift it up, it just hovers there and then I'll pull it back down. Let's see how that works. If by now you wondered why this first bin doesn't have the front go all the way up to the lid, well, there is a reason for it. It's because when you only have a couple things, you can toss them in without even having to bother with the lid. For the lid, the idea is to have a full piece of metal, like this back wall, on the top, because the dividers are the width of the standard metal. And so the full piece will cover it all the way to the front, and that's what we're doing now. These are reclaimed 2x6s, and they're cut in 3 pieces. We don't need a whole 2x6 there, obviously. And then we're going to frame it out and see how wobbly it is. If it's too wobbly, it just gets some center connections as well. So these are really old brass hinges. We put them on. They're a little too tall for our cut apart 2x6, but it should work, and this part goes on the frame of the actual compost. Well, hello, the lid is up, and look at that. So this was just a simple frame, and the metal is screwed to it, and of course the frame is screwed to itself. But now the thing is, it's a big lid, and I want it to where it stays up, where it hovers. So we have to put a counterweight on the other side with a post. Very cool though. So far I'm pretty happy with it. The lid was a little more unstable than I was hoping for, so we put a center brace in, and also we reinforced the corners with some scrap metal pieces. The post for the counterweight is in. We put some eye bolts up there, and we try to do a little practice run just with string, because now comes the complicated task of figuring out how much counterweight do we need. Thankfully this place had a lot of metal just laying around when we got here, and we kept it. Now it gets put to good use. It's finished. This counterweight actually surprisingly turned out to be the right weight. It just very easily opens up now, and then one can let go of the lid and it's perfectly balanced. How cool is that? Loving my new compost. In goes all the stuff from the old bins and stuff that has accumulated during the construction. I kept it separate. I didn't want to waste it. Composting is an actual science, just not in our house. I try to have at least 50% brown, sometimes even more, because brown is easier to come by than greens, clean greens. Browns are dead plants, leaves, hay, straw, paper, cardboard. Cardboard isn't my favorite because it has the glues in it, but it adds bulk in a pinch, a lot of bulk. I would have an endless supply of grass clippings, but they go in the banana circle because I don't want too many weed seeds in the compost. That's just annoying once you put it in the garden. Okay. Once the first bin is full, it gets shoveled to the second and then to the third for a steady rotation. The final compost, the last bin is just for the last breakdown, but then we cure the final compost in something like a trash can and not any other container or bucket, because obviously the volume goes down to a percentage of what you put into the first time. Everything we had right now is now in the first bin, and that's combined together, and for good measure I add a shovel of last year's compost to seed it with good microbes. It gives it a good start, and then also a watering can or two of diluted urine. That too helps to jumpstart the compost. Oh look, the mango's rooted on top of the compost. That's the easiest way to do it. Thanks for watching.